Welcome to today's Explainer. We are jumping right into a fascinating and, honestly, kind of urgent topic today, the truth behind those so-called legal magic mushroom gummies that are just flooding the marketplace right now. We're going to take a hard look at two vastly different fungi. They might share a biological kingdom, but as you'll see, they pull the human brain in completely opposite directions.
You definitely know this mushroom. It's that classic red and white storybook toadstool, the emoji on your phone, the ultimate video game power-up. It's called Amanita Muscaria, or the fly agar. But we really need to ask a critical question here. Is it truly the safe, over-the-counter psychedelic that it's marketed to be, or is it something else entirely?
Well, the short answer is an absolute no. No way. Despite sharing a biological kingdom, these two fungi are neuropharmacological opposites. If someone buys an Amanita product expecting a classic visionary trip, they are in for a profound and potentially really dangerous surprise. The marketplace loves to blur them together, but at the level of your brain's receptors, they have almost literally nothing in common.
Okay, so let's move on to Section 1, Amanita, turning brains down.
So, the active compound in Amanita is muscimol, and it basically acts like a massive volume knob for your brain. It mimics GABA, which is your brain's primary chill-out neurotransmitter. But instead of just tweaking the system, like a mild anti-anxiety med would, muscimol forces the brain's neuronal chloride channels wide open. It actively shuts down neuronal firing, blanketing your brain in this persistent heavy background dimming.
But here is the really wild part, the hidden danger. Right next to muscimol sits something called ibotenic-acid. And guys, this isn't just a mild irritant, it's a literal laboratory neurotoxin. It overexcites neurons to the point of death. In fact, it does this so effectively that researchers use it to deliberately destroy brain tissue in lab animals. Now, while heating or drying the mushroom does convert some of this toxin into the sedating muscimol, the process is completely imperfect, meaning that toxic, brain-damaging residue remains in the very gummies sitting on store shelves right now.
Now, you might be thinking, what about muscarin? That's what gave the mushroom its name. Well, check out this number, 0.0003%. That tiny, minuscule number is how much muscarin is actually in a fresh Amanita. It doesn't even cause the trip. If an ER doctor reflexively treats a patient for muscarin poisoning, they might actually be making a clinical mistake. Why? Because the real drivers of the delirium are muscimol and ibotenic-acid.
Let's switch gears. Section 2, Psilocybin, increasing neural entropy.
Psilocybin operates on a completely different wavelength. Once in your body, it converts to psilocin and binds directly to serotonin receptors, specifically the ones densely packed in the outer layers of your brain. So instead of shutting things down, it actually excites the cortex. It creates what neuroscientists call neural entropy. It essentially desynchronizes normal firing and loosens up your brain's rigid networks, quieting down the ego-driven default mode network and opening up totally new pathways.
When you compare them, the biological divergence is just mind-blowing. Think of Amanita as pulling the blinds and locking all the doors. It hyperpolarizes neurons to drive this widespread sleepy inhibition. It's a heavy, inward downer. Psilocybin, on the other hand, it throws all the doors and windows wide open. It sparks asynchronous firing and expansive energy. They are using entirely different molecular doorways in your brain.
So what does this mean for the user? Section 3. Delirium versus lucid vision.
Because these molecules hit totally different receptors, the actual human experience is night and day. Amanita delivers an unpredictable heavy body load. We're talking nausea, twitching, and a deep coma-like sedation that can spiral into confused delirium. It's very much a waking dream state. Psilocybin, however, produces a lucid, expansive journey characterized by visual geometry and insightful catharsis. These aren't just differing potencies, right? They are on entirely different axes of consciousness.
It might actually surprise you to learn that Amanita carries severe physiological risks, including rare fatalities, while psilocybin has an incredibly high physical safety margin. Psilocybin's risks are primarily psychological, like having a challenging trip, but physically, comprehensive drug harm studies rank psilocybin among the absolute safest compounds known, with literally no established lethal dose. Amanita, on the other hand, comes with wild potency swings, severe physical toxicity, and documented, albeit rare, fatalities.
0. That giant zero is exactly how many completed, controlled human clinical trials actually back up the wellness and microdosing claims made about Amanita Muscaria. The whole legal benzo alternative narrative?
It's just clever marketing built on anecdotal guesses. Meanwhile, psilocybin has a massive, rapidly maturing base of clinical data, including major breakthroughs for treatment-resistant depression published in top-tier medical journals.
So how did we get here? Let's get into Section 4, the Great Legal Inversion.
It's honestly a bizarre historical accident. While psilocybin was swept into Schedule I during the 1970s drug panic, Amanita just kind of flew under the radar and remained federally unscheduled, and that created a modern loophole. Even though the FDA finally flagged Amanita as an unsafe food ingredient in late 2024, and states like Louisiana are actively banning it, it still mostly remains legally sold as candy. Meanwhile, the actual evidence-backed therapy, psilocybin, remains trapped under strict federal lock and key. So when we put it all together, we're left with a pretty stark reality. A dangerous, completely untested GABA-ergic deliriant carrying a genuine neurotoxin is sold openly as a gummy. And right next to it, historically speaking, a classic psychedelic with a highly proven physical safety margin sits heavily restricted. It is a perfect, striking reminder that legal absolutely does not automatically mean safe.
As we see more and more of these products popping up on shelves, we really have to ask ourselves, should our laws reflect a historical accident or actual neuroscience? Are we confusing a broad biological kingdom with a safe pharmacology? Look, just because two things are called mushrooms definitely does not mean they do the same thing to your brain. One inhibits and dims, carrying a real laboratory neurotoxin. The other excites and loosens, carrying decades of really promising clinical data. It's so absolutely crucial to look past the marketing and understand the biology here. Thanks for diving into this complex topic with me, and I hope this helps you navigate the true science behind these fascinating fungi.